Fire up the engines. It is time to visit with our pal Ron the Car Guy from Westside Auto Pros. It is 11 minutes past 7 o'clock right now. Welcome back to the program. And Ronald, we are discussing something that a lot of people talk about, but I don't think a lot of people have a total grasp on.
Correct. It's a confusing at best, and we've talked about the different fuels at the gas pumps, but we've never really focused on what we're going to talk about today, and that's E15. And you're seeing more and more of it. You know, we've got the E85 for the flex fuel and the regular, what I call regular gas that has 10% ethanol.
So would that be considered E10?
That's E10, exactly,
okay.
Exactly. But there's also E15, and it's becoming more popular than what it's been in the past. And I just want to talk a little bit about it today because I think a lot of people shy away from it because they just don't know. They don't know what it's there for.
Now, we know that one of the convenience stores is making a concerted effort to get more E15. The come and go people are making a concerted effort to putting in more and more stations and they have it.
They're doing that company is doing a really good job with renewable fuels and stuff out there, and E15 is certainly one of them. It's 15% ethanol, which we make here in Iowa, so it's good to use that. But the question I get a lot is, can I use it in my car?
Right.
And that's what this is what you'll see when you pull up to.
And look at the pump that we just met. I didn't even know you had that picture. I honestly didn't know that.
They're not paying us for this. It's just kind of a bonus. But you can see the blue nozzle, or I'm colorblind. It's blue in my world. But the E15 nozzle next to the E85, and there's a considerable savings in E15 over regular gas. Recently, last week when I looked, regular gas was around $2.10, $2.15 a gallon, and E15 was around $1.65 to $1.71.
Oh my goodness, really?
Which catches your attention.
Oh, absolutely. When you see it on the sign out there, and gas is $1.69 a gallon, and it's E15, not E85.
Right.
So there is savings to be realized, and again, the big question is, can I use it in my car? And if you look at the labeling on the pump, it says that fuel is approved by the EPA for use in vehicles 2001 and newer.
2001.
2001 and newer.
Got it.
On the pump, it says the EPA, the Environmental Protection Association, has approved that fuel for those cars. That's where I start to have a problem.
Uh-oh. Why does Ron the Car have a problem with that?
Ron the Car Guy has a problem with that because the EPA didn't engineer, design, and build that car. They're not looking at it from a compatibility. I mean, they did some studies.
Right.
And I'm sure they have a basis to conclude that on.
So where does that come from in their eyes?
I don't know where that comes from.
Oh, okay.
And my question with that is, because the manufacturers say no. There's no manufacturer.
If you ask a car manufacturer, they say no.
If you have the company that made the cars, the only company that says you can use it in a 2001 and newer car is Porsche.
And we have a lot of those around town.
We got a lot. Yeah, there's all kinds of them. So if you look at the other manufacturers, Ford, GM, and go to them and say, hey, can I use this in a 2005? They're going to tell you no.
Right.
And so
now, 2001 and when did E15 come out?
It came out in 2012.
So how do they know that 2001 vehicles will be okay?
Well, that's the million-dollar question,
Okay.
I guess. So this is what's on the pump. Says use only in 2001 newer passenger vehicles. You can always use it in a flex fuel vehicle.
Right.
And then of course you never want to use it in a boat, but gas-powered equipment or anything like that. So I turn to the manufacturer. What is the manufacturer? Because they know it's their car.
But
they
why
build
are
it,
they
engineer
saying
it.
that?
What's that?
Why is the manufacturer saying that? Why are they saying
the manufacturer is saying that the components that make up the fuel system in their car is not compatible with that much alcohol. That's what the manufacturer says. And so when you look at the manufacturer, and we're back to the can I use it in my car? General Motors, 2012 and newer, you're good to go.
2012.
2012. Ford got on board in 2013.
Okay.
2013 and newer, you can roll with it. Chrysler was a little later to the table. It wasn't until 2016 that they said, hey, E15 is okay in all of our vehicles.
All right.
And it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer, but when you look at Ford, GM, and Chrysler, I mean, we just covered 45% of the cars on the road.
Right.
The rest of them, you probably want to take a look at your owner's manual. Hyundai and Kia just recently approved it.
Oh, they did.
For 2016. The only major manufacturer out there, as of the end of last year, that hadn't come on board and said, hey, this is good to use in our vehicles, was Nissan. Nissan hasn't approved it yet.
All right.
Or as of last year, they hadn't.
So what are they afraid that's going to happen?
Well, AAA did a survey about a year ago, and they urged fuel producers and regulators to do a better job of educating consumers about the potential damage of E15 gasoline. And I agree with that, 100%, because the fuel pumps, the seals, the fuel injectors, they're just not designed with that much alcohol in the system in mind.
And
now,
what will that do to components?
Well, it could cause your fuel pump to fail prematurely. The problem is, in testing, let's say you drive a 2005 vehicle and it's got 110,000 miles on it, and you start putting E15 in it, and your fuel pump goes bad. Well, was it going to go bad because it was a 2005 with 110,000 miles on it, or did it go bad because you put the E15 in? That's really where we don't know. But what the manufacturers know is when they engineered, designed, and built that fuel system, it was not even on the radar that they would have 15% alcohol in it.
Okay.
And so a lot of manufacturers, when this first rolled out in 2012, that weren't on board with it, they said we will deny a warranty claim if it was caused by E15.
What about the regular ethanol or gasohol, as we used to call it, the 10%?
They came out in the late 70s,
Right.
early 80s.
That's cool.
That's fine.
That's
you can put
cool?
that,
Okay.
because the cars
were designed with that already
they're
in
built
place.
with that in mind.
Okay.
So anything before 2012, before E15 was out, we didn't know.
They didn't know about it.
All right.
And so I roll with the manufacturers' recommendations. They designed, engineered, and built the car.
Right.
It'll say in the owner's manual, if you can use E15, it'll be under fuels. If you don't have your owner's manual, if you don't know how to read it, if you don't want to get it out, send me an email, call me. I mean, I'll look it up and tell you whether or not it's compatible. But rule of thumb, 2012, 2013 for Ford and GM, and the other stuff probably refer to it. But there's a big savings there. I mean,
Huge.
My vehicle's flex fuel, so I put E85. But if I didn't have a flex fuel vehicle, and it could use E15, I'd certainly use it. I mean, I'm a big fan of it.
Now, how much faster does the E15 or the E85 burn off than regular fuel?
Well, you will definitely see a drop in fuel mileage with the E85.
But it will still cost you less.
Correct.
Okay.
As long as there's a big enough spread between that. The E15, I doubt there would be a measurable fuel mileage drop because we're talking less alcohol. But as you know from racing, it takes more alcohol to propel an engine than it does gasoline.
Right.
So I don't think you're really going to see that much, but you are going to see a difference at the pump. The other thing to keep in mind too is, if you've got a flex fuel vehicle or an E15 vehicle, a question that's often asked is, do I need to run the tank dry? Does it need to be empty before I switch back and forth? And the answer is no. The computer and the electronics will figure it out. It'll know what you have in the car.
That's good to
Perfect.
know. But if your car is able to accept it, use it.
Oh, buy it. Yeah, I think it's a great product.
All right. Well, if people have any more questions, Ron, because it can be kind of a confusing situation when you're at the pump, how can they get in touch with you?
They can get a hold of me at just Google WestsideAutoPros.com. Or you can call me 225-9090. And we covered a lot of information.
Right.
I want people to know that on my personal Facebook page, Ron Haugen, and the Westside Auto Pros Facebook page, this segment will be on there later this afternoon.
Okay.
So if they want to go back as a refresher, that's certainly a good place to go.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for answering.